Patrick takes the snap, drops back, lobs it back right corner. Decker! He's got it! Touchdown! Eric Decker scores! And the Jets have won it in overtime!
This is the Jet Take with Ben Blessington and Kyle Fahey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jet Take. I have returned. I took a one-week hiatus for finals week.
No. It's been a month.
It's been a while. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I was in finals week, and then Kyle couldn't upload, so there was a bit of it's a protest. So, but I'm back. So
there wasn't
that
protest. It was more of a technical error followed by our egos getting in the way of the greater good.
I feel like that sums it up well. All right, well, a lot to talk about tonight.
To be fair, I trashed you a lot the last couple weeks, just letting you know.
It's all right.
Like,
I got thick skin.
Yeah.
I'll take it. You know.
Like, just go listen to last week's episode, like the first 5 minutes.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. I have some homework. I have a homework assignment. A lot has happened since our last episode, even your and Scott's last episode last week. Yeah. The Jets' Hope was arrested, so that. Robby Anderson.
It was killed a while ago.
Okay, sorry. I should say the Jets' best young offensive player. You could maybe argue Quincy Enunwa or whatever, but Robby Anderson was Josh McCown. Yeah, Robby Anderson was an up and coming player. Was a guy that I was. Sorry, I shouldn't use past tense, but I'm saying before the arrest was an up and coming player that we're looking forward to seeing. He did something really stupid and immature. So we'll break down that in a bit.
Hilarious.
Yeah, drives over 100 miles per hour in a 45, and then has some fun with the police officer. And we'll cover it. Wait, Kyle, we'll cover it in a second. We'll come back to it. Let's just do a brief overview. Jeremy Bates expected to be hired is hired. I guess it hasn't been officially announced yet.
It's unofficial.
But will be hired, presumably, as the next Jets offensive coordinator, as I guess Kyle predicted probably 2 months ago.
I still hate it, even though I predicted it.
Oh, I don't love it either. But I guess McCown, there is McCown has to become the quarterback's coach for your offseason coaching changes to be complete. Yeah. Steve Marshall, this happened earlier today, the Jets offensive line coach was fired. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Senior Bowl week, Pro Bowl week, no Jets in the Pro Bowl except our cheerleaders. Lots to break down there.
On the Jets Snapchat, I may add.
Yeah, I know.
I had no idea what I was watching. It's just like, I'm not going to insult the cheerleader. I was like, who is this? Because I thought it was just like some random thought from my school or something.
Oh, wow.
And then I looked at it, it's like New York Jets. I was like, I don't know who that is, so I'm just going to exit this.
Yeah, no, that's when you know your team's bad. Is the only people they send to the Pro Bowl are the cheerleaders. So, anyways, we'll get there.
Another team, so let's not act like it's an accomplishment.
That's a good point. Anyways, you can follow us at the Jet Take on Twitter.
Even our Pro Bowlers are forced. It's like it's like in the MLB when they like Seattle, they have to send Kyle Seager or something.
I'm gonna be honest here.
Yeah.
Gonna be honest here.
Yeah.
You know when Robby Anderson after that Carolina Panthers touchdown, he was like, "Y'all send me to the Pro Bowl or whatever." Yeah. And whoever the color commentator was getting on him, oh, you don't.
He was getting on his ass.
I gotta be honest. If Robby Anderson went to the Pro Bowl, would this have even happened? Because he never know. He might have been like, "Hey, I gotta leave for Hawaii soon, so I'm gonna stay in
Orlando." He would have been in the same.
It's in Orlando?
It's been in Orlando the past 2 years.
Really? Oh, yeah, you went last year. I forgot about that. Yeah. I don't know why they moved it. I like Hawaii. Anyways.
Because Hawaii sucks. It's the worst state.
I'd say Delaware.
No, because Delaware has a lot around it. Hawaii, you have it's nice and tropical.
You ever been to Hawaii?
No.
So can you give that opinion then?
Ben,
I can't give an opinion on Florida.
Have you ever listened to this show? Have you ever listened to this show? It's
no,
kind of what we do.
Deal with you. All right, that's fair enough. Anyway, so you can listen to two kids talk about something they have no idea about at the Jet Take on Twitter. You can find us on iTunes. We're on Turn of the Jets. Go follow those guys over there. Joe Caparoso, Play Like a Jet. Anyways, in a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Michael Nania, the newest writer on Turn of the Jets, also writes for Gangrene Nation, so we'll be joined by him in a few minutes.
I've actually never talked to him. So.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. Hey, if he goes to Syracuse, it could be the new Syracuse roommate. So.
Yeah, I've been told that you're trying to cuck me and replace me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him fill in.
Yeah. All right.
I'm kidding. Scott was trying to pitch him as the third host so we could alternate so Kyle and I wouldn't have to deal with each other every week. But you know what, Kyle? I hate you, but I love you in my life, all right? So let's talk about some Jets football. We'll open up with Robby Anderson, most important thing. I know you want to laugh about it, but I'm not going to let you. Let's just
wait,
I don't need your description.
Wait. Can I read my tweet? Like before I read the like police report and something?
I bet you it's not going to be as funny, but let's hear it.
Hold on, I gotta like Twitter search it because like I gotta get exactly what I said. It was before. Okay. It was Clarence Hill, the beat reporter, and the headline was, "The I, though, oh my, police report alleges Robby Anderson threatened officer's wife." I quote tweeted it, and I actually quote tweeted before I read it. I was like, before I read this, I'm really hoping Robby says, "I'm gonna bleep your bleep to the cop." Right? Like, I think you can figure out that this is a PG podcast. So I was not disappointed.
Not really.
I was. Oh, so I can say it?
No. That was not an invitation for you.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Well, sorry, Spotify. Split warning this week. So I read it, and Anderson also faces a felony count on threatening a public servant or family member. By the way, bullcrap charge. How is it threatening? How do you know she? Actually, you know what? Never mind. The police report, which was obtained by NewJersey.com, alleges Anderson told the arresting officer he would bleep, and not in her eye.
Okay. I don't know why you had to repeat the entire. He's literally 11 years old, folks.
I love Robby Anderson. And then like 30 minutes later, Louis Triato or whatever his name is from God, where's he from? What's his?
I got in quite a bit of the Jet Press dude. I got in quite a bit of a Twitter war with him.
Oh my God, he's like, Robby Anderson needs to be cut. He is like such a disgrace.
Yeah,
he might never play.
That's where I was going with this. That was.
Calm down, for Christ's sakes. Yeah, he was speeding. That's a mistake, for one. He shouldn't be doing that. I agree. He has multiple violations. He will get punished for it. He is going to get a 2-game suspension by the NFL. There have been guys who literally murdered people and got less suspension than got like 6 games, okay?
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger raped a girl and got 6 games, so I think Robby Anderson. Also, this... I'm just going to cut you off for a second because this was the question I was going with was, yes, I got in a huge debate with this guy for the Jet Press for probably about a whole day. And he was saying how character and integrity is important to him, and I agree with that. However, then I said, well, Quincy Enunwa in 2014 pulled a young woman off the bed by her ankle, and she hit her head on the bedpost or something and got a concussion. So Quincy Enunwa gave a girl a concussion. Austin Seferian-Jenkins got arrested for a DUI and also talked back to the police officer. So I said to him, would you cut those guys? And he said, yeah, I would have. Because I was like, and then I added him with the Austin Seferian-Jenkins video. As he congrats to ASJ, he celebrated 1 year of sobriety. And I was like, really? This guy doesn't have high character?
Left me undelivered. Didn't, I was a little bit offended by that, honestly.
I just wanted to say, look, I'm not trying to defend Robby Anderson. Obviously, I mean, Kyle's laughing about it. But if we're being serious, yeah, I mean, he's immature. It sounded like, I don't want to speculate, but looking at his Instagram, it looks like he went through a breakup or something and was pretty distraught over it. But I think he did something unbelievably immature and stupid and reckless. And he did evade the police. I think that's the one thing we probably should mention. It's not like he was just getting a speeding ticket. He was recklessly driving and then evaded the police. I feel like there's
more to the story, though. Like, in the group chat when this like first happened and like they released all the information, his bond was only at $7,000, and I know like you have to be in Florida to know this. If your bond's $7,000, like you did nothing, because in Florida they basically like force you to sit in jail for a couple days until you get a court hearing, because like unless you have the money to cough up, they're just going to sit you in there. Like, I don't know why. It's stupid in Florida. I think mostly it's because of private prisons and stuff, and, you know, whatever the political reasons behind that are. But I heard $7,000 bond, considering his salary. Like, he's making, what, $500K a year? Probably something around that, because he's on that undrafted free agent contract. That's, like, that didn't make sense to me. So I still feel like there's more to this story. We did see, like 3 seconds of a video of him being on the ground with a gun pointed to his head. So I don't know. Maybe there's a little more to the story. Maybe the cop was a little aggressive. It is Florida. Cops are very aggressive here. They don't play around, especially if you make them work and do their job. Like, you do 140 and like a 45 and, you know, make them chase you, they're probably
going to 140. He did a 105. He did 105. He did a 105. Sheldon still hasn't beat on the Sheldon Richardson still hasn't beat on the speeding. Anyways, my point to this was, look, unbelievably immature. He needs to be disciplined.
faster in the 40 zone. Sheldon or Robby?
Yeah, Robby's faster on the field. Sheldon, though.
Yeah. In
a car, he'll beat you every time. But I just, anyways, the point I'm trying to make, Kyle keeps sidetracking, is I think he's unbelievably immature. I think when you have guys that are and I guess not in Robby's case since he's only making $600K, but to be fair, he had a great season, so he was in line and probably still is for a big-time contract. When you have guys like this who are playing, you know, a sport where you're basically just slamming your head into another guy's head, that sound right? For everybody to watch, and you're getting paid millions of dollars, and there's all this pressure and stuff and influences. These things happen to guys. You know, it's not really something you can excuse, but these things are going to happen to really any of your. If Todd Bowles is a coach for longer than 5 years, he's going to have an incident like this. Unfortunately, he's had a few. If you're just counting, he's got quite a few incidences with Sheldon Richardson and Robby Anderson. So my point is this: no, I don't think he needs to be cut. He was arrested last year. You know, I think it's a 3 strikes you're out policy for a player of Robby Anderson's talent. If you are a 7th string offensive tackle, yeah, you might be expendable. But if you're Robby Anderson, who's the best player on your offense, he bought himself an extra strike with his play on the field. You say, you know, Robby, you so much as jaywalk, you're going to be off this team. So, you know, I think you make it clear to him. Yeah, as Kyle said, I mean, if Sheldon only got 1 game for his impression of Vin Diesel, it could be very. Robby might only get 1. However, you're right.
With an unregistered gun and a child in the car
and marijuana.
The scent of marijuana.
Yes. I will say that Robby had not been punished for the last arrest, so I think, yeah, you're looking at 2 to 4 games. But, you know, I don't think it's worthy to cut him. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well. That's what Lewis is saying. You need to cut him immediately. And I think it's just it's very immature of him, but to not be able to expect any growth from him is kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of counterproductive, I guess is what I would say. He needs somebody at this moment to stand by him and help him learn and mature. You cut him off to the street, I don't know how he's going to fare. I mean, he'd get signed immediately, but...
Yeah, Robby is, what, 24 years old?
Yeah, 24.
Okay. He's a kid, all right? He's still an adolescent. He's still got a childlike mentality. Most of us are in the same boat as him who listen to this podcast. I'm sure we have a pretty solid 30 and up crowd, but you can understand the fame, the fortune, being the guy in New York as of right now. I mean, Jets Twitter is essentially Robby Anderson, Jamal Adams, Marcus May type, and he's like the only guy on offense. He's the only one basically scoring touchdowns for us week in, week out. Fame goes to your head. So when you mix like his past of not being responsible, whatever his upbringing was, his problems at Temple, which were not only in the classroom, but off the field problems. And then you brought that to the NFL where we saw his immaturity at times, obviously with the previous event at Rolling Loud in Miami. And then, you know, promoting himself for the Pro Bowl, which I don't really care about, but it speaks for your character in a way. and now this is a maturity problem, as you said. It needs to be addressed, and somebody does need to hold his hand right now. I'm going to be honest. I don't see anybody in the locker room right now to do it. Maybe Jermaine Kearse, if he's even here.
Austin Safarian-Jenkins?
I mean, how long has he been here?
ASJ tweeted out his support. I mean, he's been here for 2 years now. This will be his third year here. And Kyle, I mean, if you watch that video on him, I mean, I think if you're talking about a guy who knows how to help a young player in the NFL struggling off the field, I think ASJ is your guy. But, look, we're not in the locker room, so I don't think we can speculate.
Yeah, this is more of a maturity thing and not a mental health issue, though.
I think ASJ would argue that at the beginning of his career there was something. I mean, did you watch the video that he did for the Players Tribune?
Yeah.
So I think he'd be the guy. But I don't think we don't really know anybody. We don't have inside knowledge on the locker room. So I think we should just move on and keep it. I don't think we should cut him. I think we should bring him back. He'll get some time. We'll find out probably early summer of what he's going to be serving. But no, I don't think we should be cutting him, overreacting. But yeah, he's on a very strict 3-strike policy. Kyle, we're going to bring on Michael Nania in just a second, but really quickly, I wanted to get your thoughts on, before we're going to talk about a little bit about with Michael, is Jeremy Bates being named the offensive coordinator unofficially. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. I made that very clear last week that would be my least favorite move, that I was all for Todd Haley. I was all for Bruce Arians. I do not like this move. I predicted it. I anticipated it because, I saw the handwriting on the wall here. I guess John Morton just didn't get along with people, especially the people who had the power to get rid of him. That isn't necessarily the smartest thing in the world to, conduct yourself. Like, don't clash with your boss, because it gets you fired, and that's what happened. I'm sure Johnny will get himself a job somewhere. Cats always seem to land on their feet. But this will affect the team next year. We're going to change basically, and we're seeing the effects of it today with the firing of the offensive line coach, because our whole offensive line, the schematics and how they play is going to change. We're going to go from, right now this kind of bump and run, create gaps for the running backs, and, kind of trying to describe the pass protection, don't really have the words for it, but it's going to be more of like a zone scheme now, and I'm pretty confident that's why we fired our current O-line coach, who I thought did a really good job developing guys like, Brandon Shell and Calvin Beachum this year, regardless of how the center played. I feel like that's more of a talent deficiency than more of a
scheme.
Yeah. So I don't think that guy deserved to get fired. He's just... the vultures swooped him up quick, basically. They smelt the dead carcass, and he was one of the remaining guys from Morton's put-together staff. I'll be interested to see what happens to the other guys on the team. I think we can definitely expect guys like Stump Mitchell to be retained, because he did a pretty good job this year, and he seems to have a connection with Bowles. So I think we're just going to see the Morton guys get flushed out. And I guess that would be like our receivers coaches and stuff like that. We'll just see in time. Maybe the Jets decide to keep people. Maybe they don't. I could be completely wrong here, but I think we're going to see a change, obviously, on offense with the certain people there, and obviously that comes when you change offensive coordinators. But, during the regular season, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what to expect from Jeremy Bates. He's ran a couple different systems. I'm going to guess it's a derivative of John Morton's system, West Coast-based. I guess you got like a taste of it in Denver with Jay Cutler. I'm pretty sure he had the play calling duties there.
Yeah, he did.
They had a pretty solid offense with Cutler and Brandon Marshall. He has had little success as a play caller. I don't think it was enough to warrant him becoming an offensive coordinator. I said that last week. We saw it at USC when he was given a full opportunity. He failed. He fell straight on his face. Now, the funny thing about the NFL is no matter how many times you fail, you'll probably get another chance. It kind of seems to be the thing around here nowadays, especially with coaches. So we'll see. We'll see what this means for personnel. Regarding, there were some rumors with the UCLA offensive coordinator probably, or rumored to come be our quarterbacks coach. I mean, that's a connection to Josh Rosen. Just connecting the dots here, just sitting back and praying, hoping. But also reports are that Todd Bowles really wants the Jets to get Kirk Cousins and go after offensive line early in the draft. And, I don't know what...
That last point, I am not a big fan of going O-line early in the draft. I'm sorry, but I think free agency is the best place to get your O-line. Oh, yes,
This is a really bad O-line, free agency. I mean,
I understand. Not in the center position. Yeah, I mean, Kyle, think about it. I really think the Jets can probably go into, and let's get Nania on the line in literally under a minute here. But Kyle, I mean, think about it. I think the only position the Jets should replace in their offensive line should be center. You're replacing Winters, Carpenter, Shell, maybe Beachum, but I didn't think Beachum did a horrible job.
Listen,
I mean.
Ben,
I think you can draft a guy in the third round as a left tackle. Kyle, I don't think I think there is way too high of a percentage of busts. They're normally raw and take time to develop. I think you can find a guy like Brandon Shell in the fifth round, and honestly, let's look at the 2015 draft. I believe it was. It might have been 2016. I think did we get Shell in 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Okay. Well, I'll use two different drafts then. 2015, Washington Redskins selected, I think it was Brandon Scherf, something fifth overall.
Yeah,
2016, the Jets in the fifth round get Brandon Shell. How much of a difference is there in those two players?
Brandon Scherf is a Pro Bowler. He has made their offensive line.
I understand that, but now look at what the Jets were able to get with that pick instead. And so we put Leonard Williams, who was a Pro Bowl defensive lineman. I know he wasn't this year. So we got a Pro Bowl defensive lineman and a very capable offensive tackle. And in today's NFL, you don't need 5 All-Pros. I understand that is nice, but Kyle, I'll take having an All-Pro defensive end, Pro Bowl defensive end, and a very good right tackle, instead of taking the Pro Bowl tackle and then having to use, do you think you're going to get a Leonard Williams in the fifth round? I don't think you are. So my point is, I just think...
I'll put it like this, because I don't disagree. I'm not usually for taking O-linemen really early. If Quentin Nelson is sitting there at 6 and we have signed Kirk Cousins, I am taking Quentin Nelson unless Saquon Barkley is sitting there. Quentin Nelson...
You're going to take Saquon. You're going to talk to me about taking offensive lineman at 6 when you're considering taking a running back at 6. You're talking about one of the most positions that have been devalued over the years in NFL and NFL football, and one of the deepest positions in literally every draft. You look at Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara. I understand Leonard Fournette was very good this year, but would the Jaguars have been that much different had they selected Alvin Kamara in the third round or Kareem Hunt? I'm just telling you, running backs are replaceable.
Saquon and Quentin Wilson are generational type talents. You don't.
I think Saquon, I could understand if they got Kirk Cousins. I'm not going to complain about adding a guy of his caliber. But if I'm Mike McCagnon, I sign Kirk Cousins. I look at I go straight to edge rusher. Is Bradley Chubb there? If he is, I'm taking him. But if the Colts or somebody takes him, I think there's going to be running quarterbacks, so I think there is a chance that Chubb could fall. If teams are trading up to hop the Broncos, whatever, you're going to see, maybe you see Allen go, who I think is terrible, but Mayfield, Rosen, I mean, there's a very good chance.
Did you see the video?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what Kyle's referring to is at the Senior Bowl, they were throwing into the throwing net or whatever from 10, 15 yards out. Baker Mayfield drops back, runs a little bit, and then throws it right into the hole in the net. Josh Allen drops back, does a little shimmy, and just bombs it right over the net, just misses it completely.
He wasn't even close. I swear to God, I am more accurate than Josh Allen. Josh Allen could be and I loved Josh Allen before this year. He has regressed so much, it's not even, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. It's, sad because it's his failure in life that I'm laughing at. But he was good last year. I just don't know what happened.
Let's bring on Michael Nania to talk about this. I guess, all right, he's unmuted. Michael, welcome to the show, the newest writer on Turn on the Jets and a staple at Gang Green Nation. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I love the show. You guys do a great job, and I'm excited to finally be on.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. I guess we'll open it up with what Kyle and I are talking about, the offensive line position. Now, do you agree with me here that I don't think offensive line is a position that the Jets should look at in the first round, given that you could get a center in the second round like Billy Price or even somebody in the third round, or in my mock free offseason in free agency, or do you agree with Kyle that taking a guy at 6 is a way to go?
Right. I think, when you look at the Jets O-line, and obviously we know how bad they were this year, overall it's just not fun to watch. They weren't productive at all. But I think if you look at them one by one, I think the only position that is going to be addressed is center. They re-signed Brian Winters last year. Brandon Shell is a young guy who I'm sure they have confidence in, and he showed some strides last year. Carpenter did regress, but he signed, and I don't think that they're going to move on from him. And I thought Beachum was probably their best O-lineman last year. So I think center is really the only position that could be addressed. And you look at some of the names in free agency, like I was on my free agency article yesterday at Turn on the Jets. There are some pretty decent names out there. Ryan Jensen from the Ravens, Matt Paredes from the Broncos. He's a restricted free agent, but there's some good free agent center names. So I think to free agency, if they could get that center hole plugged, then I don't think it would be too much of a need going into the draft, because other than left tackle, I think there's one position on the O-line, especially for this team, because we know how much Wesley Johnson struggled. If there's one position that you could fix that would have a domino effect on the rest of the line, it would be center. So I think hopefully they get that done in free agency, and it's not a need going into the draft.
I'm not saying it's a need. I'm just saying that you don't pass on a generational guard who comes in and is probably a Pro Bowler year one.
You're right. I think
but you can't make that statement, Kyle.
Have you seen him then?
You also said Josh Allen was going to be a Pro Bowler last year. You can't. I mean, I understand that this guy's probably going to be really good, Kyle. But do you think that the Jets would be better off sending a guy like Ryan Jensen, who we know is a great center, and then at 6 you can pick a guy like Bradley Chubb, even Saquon Barkley, who I think is an amazing player, and I wouldn't be upset. But I think you can get guys in the second or third round. You could you could go corner with Fitzpatrick. There's so many players. You could go wide receiver. You could go defensive end
in the NFL.
Kyle, I'm just saying. There's so many other places.
Ben, you look at the people who are going to be there at 6, and this is assuming we sign Kirk Cousins. Minka Fitzpatrick, if he's there, which I don't know if he will be, most likely a safety. Bradley Chubb probably gone at number 3. Who else is going to be there? My thing, the reason I think Chubb might be available, and I think it's going to be a lot like when Leonard Williams fell and when Jamal Adams fell, not for the same reason, but I think it's going to be like that. And again, the Jets are going to have a great player just fall to them. And the reason is I think there's going to be running on quarterbacks. Jets are going to land Cousins in my dream scenario, and then you have. I think it's realistic.
Then you have 1, 2. I guess the Browns pick twice, and then the Colts don't need one. So you have 3 teams in the top 5 that need quarterbacks. You could argue the Giants might not go quarterback or whatever. And then you have teams like the Jaguars, the Cardinals. There's a lot of teams that might want to trade up, all trying to get Mayfield, Rosen, Darnold, even someone Allen. So you're telling me that those 4 could go, and then a Saquon Barkley, and then Chubb sitting there. I think it's possible that Chubb could be there at 6.
I think at number 3, the Colts are either going to take Bradley Chubb or Quentin Nelson. I think
also Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick is going in top 5s in a lot of drafts as well. So I don't think
he's a top 5 talent, but he's more of a safety in the NFL.
But given this is, yes, I could see him as a safety. I think he's going to play corner. That's just my personal opinion. And I don't think he's Jalen Ramsey. I don't think he's Jalen Ramsey level. But given the success the Jaguars have had at drafting Jalen Ramsey at 5, you're telling me that a team isn't going to try to play copycat, especially the Cleveland Browns. Let's say they go Josh Rosen number 1, or I guess Sam Darnold number 1, since Josh Rosen doesn't want to play with him, and Fitzpatrick at number 4. I don't know. But, Michael, let's transition here. We'll come back to the offseason because, we all like to talk about it, is our free agent plans, our draft plans. But, Michael, I wanted to get your thoughts on Jeremy Bates as the offensive coordinator. What do you feel about this hire? Or is this something that you were excited about? What type of offense do you think he's going to try to run? Just your overall opinion on Michael, or on Jeremy Bates.
Right. I think it's hard to get excited about a guy like Bates who has not that much background to go off of, and when he has had higher positions with play calling, hasn't been that successful. But I think you look at a lot of the reasons they gave for John Morton going out is just disagreements and him and Bowles seeing things differently. And while you don't like to see that with Bowles, at the end of the day, if they're not getting along, things aren't going to work. So everyone seems to like Bates. They seem to like his vision. Bowles obviously is high on him. So if everyone's going to get along, now obviously we got to see the results, see how everything plays out, if he can figure out quarterback, and just have success. But you got to have guys on the same page. So it seems like Bates and everyone else is on the same page. But the one thing that does scare me about Bates is a lot of people have been bringing up the Josh Allen connection, that's his kind of guy, and I'm definitely hoping that is not the case.
Kill me. Please kill me now if that is the case. Just take me out. Take me out back, Lassie style. Tell me I've been a good boy, and then just end it.
All right. Michael didn't even know how to respond to that. Yeah, Michael, this is Kyle Fay. He's...
Hi. Nice to meet you. All right.
Yeah,
Still,
I mean,
yeah.
Anyway.
Did you recently lose a dog or something? Did I hit a nerve?
Yeah, I mean, with Josh Allen, I think that saying if the Jets pick him, that it's completely hopeless. And like you said, Kyle, he did show a lot last year. That's when he's getting number one buzz. But I think saying it's completely hopeless, I don't think that's true. A lot of people compare him to Hackenberg. I don't think that's right. But do I think he's a top 6 quarterback, a first-round quarterback? Absolutely not.
All right, Michael, let's move forward here. I do want to get your thoughts on the quarterbacks. I know you've been doing a lot of film review and film study on them. Can you rank your top quarterbacks? Rank your top 5 out of, I assume, Mayfield, Rosen, Darnold, Allen, and then I guess whoever else you throw in there.
Right. I think I'd go Rosen number 1 and Darnold number 2, and those two guys kind of in their own tier.
I left out Lamar Jackson. I got to throw in Lamar's the other 5. I forgot about him.
Oh wow, Ben. Wow.
And I like Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield. Everything about him, just his intensity, his passion. I love all that stuff. I think he's got great accuracy, great touch, everything you love. Just his height does bother me a little bit, and just the fact that Big 12 quarterbacks coming out there haven't had that much success. So I would pick him at number 6, absolutely, but I think if I were the Jets, I'd first try and get a Rosen or Darnold if they could trade up. But I'd put Mayfield 3rd, and I'd put Jackson 4th. I do like Lamar Jackson a lot. He's not – a lot of people say he should switch to receiver. I just don't get that at all. He can play quarterback. He has a lot of work to do with his feet, but the guy can throw a football. He has a strong arm, and he should improve in every year. So I go Jackson 4th, and then I put Allen 5th, a far distance behind Mayfield and Jackson. I wouldn't pick him at 6. Like I said, I don't think that's ideal, but I can see why a team would want to take that shot, but I'm definitely hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. Kyle, I mean, we've talked all about it. I guess one more question about this type of stuff, and then we can kind of go into off-season plans. And this is I guess I'll start with Kyle, and then we'll move over to Michael. Obviously, the Jets fired their offensive line coach today. And Steve Marshall. They are supposedly trying to interview the former Bills offensive line coach. Actually, it might have been offensive
coordinator.
Offensive coordinator. Excuse me. Sorry, Rick Dennison, who was the Broncos offensive coordinator when Jeremy Bates was in Denver. Sorry, I was trying to. Broncos and Bills were, messing with me there. But, so Rick Dennison, they're looking at him to bring him as the offensive line coach. They're looking at Callahan from Detroit, the quarterback's coach, to bring him in as the quarterback's coach if he doesn't take a job in Tennessee. So, Kyle, I'll start with you. What do you think about these interviews? What do you think about these replacements? And I mean, are these your top choices? Do you have any other guys you'd like to see fill it? Just talk about the positions themselves. And so I'll start with Kyle, and then we'll go over to Michael.
If we hire Rick Dennison, we're gonna have to get the Rock Power Report guys on here. even though they're kind of mad at me right now. They will tell you that he sucks and he doesn't have a job for a reason, and I will tell you the same thing.
But as the offensive line coach, I mean,
I can't really judge that because honestly, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know exactly what scheme he runs, as like an offensive line coach, and even if he has any experience, because honestly, I didn't do like research on Rick Dennison. So, to each his own opinion, but I'll just go as an offensive coordinator, he sucked, and he had a lot of great talent before it was traded, even though they made the playoffs.
And what do you think about Callahan coming in as the quarterback's coach?
It's whatever. It's really going to be what Jeremy Bates changes what this system's going to be based around. Like I said earlier in the show, he has a couple of things he can run with. We don't know what the playbook's going to be based off of until like early training camp. And that's going to affect, how the draft goes. Obviously, Todd Bowles has his wishes, like I said. Best player available. We could see, say this goes to more of a West Coast, offense where he wants to pound the rock. If Saquon Barkley's sitting there at number 6, I doubt he passes him. So whoever the quarterback coach may be, if we get a more experienced guy, that's great. If we get a guy who's got a great reputation, it's awesome. If we get a brand new guy fresh off the block, it's whatever. If we hire Josh McCown, that's cool. It's really just going to be on Jeremy Bates.
Yeah, and Michael, your thoughts on the potential hirings at offensive line coach and quarterbacks coach?
Right. Yeah, I think one thing that's kind of clear is that the Jets aren't really looking like an attractive opening because even through all 3 years, how many big, like really big coaching names have been linked to them? Not many. And there's a lot of talk that maybe the Jets release Morton to go after Todd Haley, and he's looking at the Browns over the Jets right now. So that's one thing I take out of it, that they're not looked at too highly.
He's officially,
right.
Yeah, he's officially on the Browns.
Right, yeah, and you got guys going to the Browns over the Jets, so not that it's too big a deal, but I definitely think that's one thing I take out of it, that they're not looking like that attractive of a job right now. But in terms of Callahan, I think I like what Kyle said, that it's going to come down to Bates. If he can get his quarterbacks, find a system that works. I don't think quarterback coach matters too much, but with Callahan, I guess he is a guy who a lot of people are saying good things about, which is always nice. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you do in the field.
Yeah, I agree as well. All right, Michael, let's talk about your ideal offseason for the New York Jets. We'll start. We've kind of talked a little bit about coaching. We'll start with guys on the roster that you don't think will be back next year. So just give us some of the guys you think they're going to cut. Obviously there's some obvious ones. Maybe there's some surprising ones. I've heard some people are saying maybe the Jets should cut Bilal Powell. There's a few other ones. So who are the guys you think the Jets should cut? You can also throw in if you want to restructure some guys here, but those are a little hard to predict in a podcast without knowing them. So really the guys that you don't think the Jets should bring back in 2018.
I'll start with the obvious. Mo has got to go. Just those savings for what he brings, just there's no place for him on the roster of that contract. So he's the obvious one to start. And I look at some of the other free agents they could cut. Buster Skrine. I think you look at the Jets right now, and he's probably their best corner. Is Skrine a good player overall? I don't think he's had that consistency, but Skrine is the guy I would stick with. And you look at Ben Ajelana, they could save some money by cutting him, I think. And his contract was questionable when they signed it last year, and he didn't end up playing a starting role at all. So I think he's definitely another guy that I would cut. And Matt Forte is definitely another guy I think should go. He just didn't seem like he had a place this year. I thought it made sense last year when they were trying to find a security blanket for Fitzpatrick when they thought they were a contender. But I think Forte doesn't really have a place on this team in the future. But I think those are three of the main guys I look at and say that they need to go.
All right, and who are you re-signing? And I'll try to pull up a list here of I have it on the notes here, so let me pull it up. But obviously, guys that are scheduled to be free agents this offseason, you have Austin Seferian-Jenkins, you have Demario Davis, Coney Ealy. Let me find this. Where is it? There it is. Chandler Catanzaro, I believe that's it. Morris Claiborne, that was the other one. So out of those guys, there might be a few other ones that I missed there. Who are you re-signing? Who are you trying to bring back onto your team in 2018?
I think bringing back Davis has to be a big priority. I think after the first 2 weeks of the season, when I thought he was pretty bad to start the year, after that, though, he completely turned it around. I thought he's arguably the best player on defense, maybe with the two safeties, but I definitely think they should bring him back. And obviously, with any player, there's a price tag you don't want to go over, but bring back Davis, and you look at who he's playing next to, Darren Lee. If you don't bring back Davis, then that's a big hole that they're creating at inside linebacker. So I would definitely look to bring him back first. And Sterling Jenkins, I think, is an interesting one. I think he's young, and he definitely had probably his best year all around. I thought his blocking was better, but the reports that he didn't take their $6 million per year deal, I don't know if I want to go over that too much. $6 million, I think I do, maybe a little bit more, but he kind of disappeared towards the end of the season, and he did have the questionable touchdown calls, but at the end of the day, he holds on to the ball, they're touchdowns. So I do like Sterling Jenkins. I really like his improvement, but if he's not going to be the $6 million, I really don't know. What do you guys think of bringing him back?
Kyle, I guess I'll defer to you first.
I agree with Michael. You definitely have to bring back Demario Davis. Should have been a Pro Bowler, top 10 linebacker this year in the NFL. I mean, as Michael said, when we traded for him, it was kind of like, I think the perfect response was the gif of the Heat player, like looking off, upset, and then just like shrugging, like, you know what, whatever. I mean, we traded away Calvin Pryor for a Pro Bowler, basically. So good on Mike Maccagnan. So you obviously have to bring back DeMario. Don't know what the price is going to be because I'm going to be honest, I don't know the market for inside linebackers who are having the best year of their career and hopefully going to, I guess, sustain that. So re-sign DeMario, re-sign Austin Severi and Jenkins for sure. And, I mean, I guess Coney Ely would be the only other big-name guy. Or
yeah.
Quincy, I guess, restricted free agent.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I should probably get the 10-year. I completely forgot about Quincy. My other thing is, and I guess this is a question I'll pose to you, Michael, first about Demario Davis, and I should preface this with, I'm fully in agreement with bringing him back, but the guy's coming off a career year. He's probably going to search for the most money. This is probably his big contract. He's been in the league for a few years. This is probably his peak, and the contract he's going to get. He's probably going to look for the most amount of money. Do you think this is a level of performance he can maintain in 2018?
I think it's really tough. I mean, you look at inside linebackers, I think a lot of them kind of peak later in their careers. So I think maybe it is. And you look at his numbers in Cleveland the year before, he did kind of improve his 1 year in Cleveland. So really maintain this year, I'm really not sure about that, but I just think his value to this team as the leader he obviously is and helping Darren Lee along, because he does take a lot of pressure off of him. I think he's definitely the kind of player, if you're going to go over a little bit to what you would usually pay to bring him back, I think he's definitely that kind of guy. And I'm looking at the inside linebacker salaries right now. The top three guys are 12 per year, 10 per year. Then after that, it's kind of 9, 8, 7. So I think with Davis, I think 7 per year, 6 per year would be reasonable for him. What do you think?
I honestly
sorry
don't
about
know.
that. I thought he was going to Kyle there. I think I don't want to get, and it's a much less significant situation, I guess I'll say, but middle linebacker is a very important position. I don't want it to be another Ryan Fitzpatrick type of situation, and Demario Davis is younger, so I don't think it is, but I think Mike Maccagnan has to be careful not to throw everything at him. I think Demario Davis has the leverage here. He knows that the Jets want him back badly because it's going to be hard to replace him, but I think the Jets need to be, and the Jets have a lot of money, so I mean it's not really a huge issue, but you're a team that's looking to build, and 2 years from now you might want to not have a huge contract to a 30-year-old linebacker that's not performing. So I think that they need to be careful. I think you should give him what he deserves and expect him to keep playing at this level, but they should keep that in mind. Now, Michael, let's move forward to free agency here. I I guess I'll actually start here with we'll start first with team needs. So we'll go around for each team need. So I guess we'll go through positions, and Kyle, you're welcome to jump in here. We'll talk about some team needs that you guys think we have, and then we can talk about how we address them in free agency. Okay, so we'll do it by team need instead of just throwing out names. So as far as free agency goes, quarterback position, Michael, Kyle, and myself, I believe we're all in on the Kirk Cousins bandwagon. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw a tweet comparing him to Joe Flacco and Andy Dalton. I just want to say, you are stupid. Whoever you were, you were dumb.
All right. I think bringing in Kirk Cousins would be in our ideal offseason, I think is a good move. So at our quarterback position, we got Kirk Cousins. The other part we got to talk about, Josh McCown said this week that he wants to return to the New York Jets. So, Michael, I'll start with you. In your ideal offseason, is Josh McCown returning to the Jets as a backup quarterback?
In my ideal offseason, I think definitely not. Josh McCown has no part of anything, but I do think there is a scenario where he would make sense, because usually if the Jets miss on Cousins, then I think after that their focus would shift to the draft, and I don't think they're going to want to go into the draft with just Bryce Petty and Christian Hackenberg. They're probably going to want to add some sort of veteran competition, just kind of a presence, because pretty much every team does that. They're not going to go into the draft with just those two guys. So I think if that's what you're going to do, I think sticking with McCown, who would be cheaper, who was here last year, has a relationship, the coaching staff and everything, just sticking with him and saving money over someone like a Case Keenum or a Bradford, who will be a lot more expensive, and you're not hoping to be your starter down the line anyway. I think in that scenario, McCown would make sense, but that would be far down. That would be after missing on Cousins, and I think I'd also want Teddy Bridgewater ahead of him, because he's a younger guy who could potentially improve and maybe be an answer in addition to drafting a quarterback, but I do think there is a place for McCown, but it's down the list of hopeful scenarios.
Kyle?
Bringing back McCown, I mean, I'm not 100% against it. Like, it's not going to be like I don't know, like the way Buffalo fans act around Tyrod. I like Josh McCown. A lot of the guys in the locker room love him. He's a good leader, says the right things to the media, and he didn't play bad this year. I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't deserve to return, because he sure as hell does. He's played himself into another contract. But at the same time, it's enough with the doorstops. Close the door. Move on. Right? If you sign Josh McCown, you are admitting another year of failure.
Well, but Kyle, my thing here is if they're signing Kirk Cousins, it would purely be as a backup, because you look at it, I mean, backup quarterback is a very valuable position. Yeah, but I mean, because we've already said we're signing Kirk Cousins.
Oh, well, he's not going to accept the backup job. He's going to get a starting job somewhere.
You don't know. I mean, well, maybe, but as a 40-year-old quarterback, he might want to keep his family in New York. I mean, they'd probably pay him around probably $5 million, be a backup quarterback. If Cousins goes down, unfortunately, then you have a guy like McCown that can come in. I'm not completely against
Josh McCown to fill in for my injured quarterback.
Kyle, Josh McCown performed pretty well in Jeremy Bates and John Morton's system. I don't know if you should be, especially since the Eagles are heading into the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I think you can. By the way, that is a sentence I never thought I'd ever say. But, anyways, let's move on. Running back, we have Matt Forte, Bilal Powell, Elijah McGuire. Really, Elijah McGuire is the only guy, barring another Fast and Furious incident, that will 100% be on the roster next year. Powell is a pretty good chance that he should be on it as well.
Are we 100%?
Well liked.
Like, I think there's a very, very solid chance he'll be on the roster, but he was a fifth-round pick.
Yeah, and he performed pretty well. You can't argue.
Things can change in training camp, then. I mean, there was a guy who was in the third round.
I would say out of all the running backs, he is the highest percent to be back. I would say that over Bilal Powell. I think Bilal Powell will return, but mean, there was some talk about maybe the Jets could, couple all pals, sign Jerick McKinnon, cut Forte, and draft a guy, and then you're heading into the next season with, let's just throw out, Sony Michel, Jerick McKinnon, and Elijah McGuire. Anyways, Michael, what over Matt Forte, Bilal Powell, and Elijah McGuire? Really?
I don't think highly of Jerick McKinnon, like at all. Bilal Powell's much better than him, in my opinion.
Yeah, this was just a throw out, but he could be cheaper. But I guess Jets aren't starved for money, given that they're gonna have to spend 80% of their cap or something.
They do have to spend. They have to spend most of it, and to put it in perspective, the year the Giants went out, they basically signed everybody in God's green earth. They had $66 million. We're gonna have $100 million. So,
I'm going to say anything. The problem with free agency is you look how well that worked out for the Giants for 1 year. It looked out great. 2 years later, back in the bottom of the barrel. So
100% on coaching, though.
Yes, but some of those guys like Janoris Jenkins fell off a bit. I don't know if
because they gave up midway through the year because nobody liked their coach and they didn't want to play for him.
I'm just saying the Jets got to be careful not to just burn all this money. I think you need to use some of it, obviously, but let's not invest in a lot of high-priced older free agents. But again, Olivier Vernon, I would still sign and whatnot. But Michael, we'll switch to the running back position here. What are you doing here in the offseason? As far as free agency goes, we'll close with a little mini mock draft. We don't have to do all 7 rounds, but we can do the first four picks, or the first 3 rounds. Your running back position, what are you doing?
What?
I think at running back that I definitely stick with Powell and McGuire. I think they both deserve to be back, and we haven't gotten to see Powell really, even though he led them in carries this year, we haven't really gotten to see him be a workhorse guy, and I think that's probably best for him because he has been injury prone. So I think we could see them go with another kind of committee approach. They might, like you mentioned, McKinnon might find a guy like him who is younger. So I think that it's not going to be something they invest too heavily in, and I don't think it's something they should because, like we've seen, and the running back can't carry your offense, but like we've seen with the Super Bowl teams now, there are a lot of highly invested in guys leading their teams, a lot of committee approaches, a lot of mid-round picks. So, and with Le'Veon Bell, I think he's going to command way too much money. He's a great player, best back in the league, but should the Jets give all their money to him? I don't think so. So I think that they're going to stick with those 2, and that's what I would do, and maybe add one more guy to kind of round it out.
All right, Kyle, your take?
Well, what's the question?
What would you do at the running back position as far as free agency goes? We'll get to the draft in a bit, but
okay. Don't sign any veterans. That's what I'll say, because guys like DeMarco Murray are going to hit the market, and as good as they are, because DeMarco Murray is still a very good running back in the NFL, very productive, don't waste your money there. Don't burn your money, as Ben said 30 seconds ago. It's not worth it. Draft somebody else. Since we're talking about free agency, I anticipate Matt Forte to get cut. We'll save money there. I don't know who we're going to replace him with. I don't love the running back free agency class, an exception to Le'Veon Bell. But as Michael said, Le'Veon Bell is basically going to have the NFL market by the balls. He will command as much as he wants, and he'll probably get that because he deserves it. He is arguably the best running back in the NFL consistently year in, year out. He hasn't had any legal issues in a year or 2. If you want him, go get him. You have the money for it. Imagine a backfield with Kirk Cousins and Le'Veon Bell. It's hard to stop it, and I think that would be a legitimate chance to beat the team who's going to be in Minnesota, a week or 2 from now. So if you want it, go get it. Overall, don't really spend money. You'll find better guys in the draft. This is a really, really deep draft class. As much as I love Saquon Barkley, I think he's a generational talent, and I don't think anybody in the past 5 drafts even comes close to comparing to him. Very, very long time since we've seen a guy like this, and, we've had great players like Zeke and Leonard Fournette come out in the past couple of years, and Todd Gurley. We've actually had a really good, spell of running backs in the scheme of things recently, but, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, they're going to get you similar production to a guy like Jerick McKinnon in free agency. So don't sign anybody. Really don't. Make space. Don't take away space this year in the free agency class for running backs.
All right, we'll move forward to the wide receiver position. This is something that I didn't think was a huge need, given we should have Jermaine Kearse back. Quincy Enunwa comes back. But now with Robby Anderson's arrest, we still don't know the status of Quincy Enunwa's injury. Jermaine Kearse is, I believe, a free agent, but I think the team has an option on him. So, so Michael, I'll start with you. What are you doing at the wide receiver position as far as it goes to from free agency? Are you looking at any of those guys like Jarvis Landry, Allen Robinson, et cetera?
Sorry, I think I like the receiver position for the Jets more than most people do. I think Kearse, Enunwa, and now Robby Anderson with his potential suspension and obviously his question marks off the field, there's a little more murkiness there, so it does kind of make it more of a need. But I think between those three guys, if Quincy Enunwa could come back and be who he was, I think that's definitely an above-average group right there that could keep getting better between Enunwa and Anderson, as both those guys are still pretty young. But I don't think receiver's position that's a need necessarily, but I mentioned that on Turn on the Jets that if Joey Bates and the team sees a guy like Allen Robinson or Jarvis Landry coming in and they have a specific fit for them in their offense and alongside whatever quarterback they want to draft or Cousins, then absolutely go get him. You can never have enough weapons, but is it an absolute need? I don't think so. And should they be spending like $6-7 million on a mid-tier guy who would only be a second or third receiver? That I don't think so. But if they had plans for an Allen Robinson or a Jarvis Landry who could be a huge piece of the offense, then I would not be against that at all.
All right, Kyle.
I want to stay away from Jarvis Landry. I'm friends with a couple of Dolphins fans. You know, obviously Travis probably being the most notable one. You guys know him. He's been on here before. He works with TOJ a lot. Cancer in the locker room is basically what I get from everybody who I've talked to. They tried to send him a message this year by not giving him an extension in the offseason, and then trading Jay Ajayi, a guy who was having similar situations. Worked out for Jay Ajayi, and, you know, the message, I guess, didn't get across to Jarvis Landry. Still problematic in the locker room. A lot of guys don't like him. You know, that's just a guy I stay away from, especially for the money he's going to be commanding. And listen, he's good. He's productive. You can show me all the stats in the world. He's not a number one. He's not. He's a very, very, very good number two. He will never be your number one. I will not trust the game in his hands. And I think that's been proven by his career. You know, he still has, you know, problems route running, you know, locker room issues, commanding money, just
route running. I don't think route running is his issue, Kyle.
There's
a route runner.
Travis has ID'd multiple times where he has given up on routes, short-arted them, you know, maybe moved. We saw it once with Kenny Stills in the Dolphins game, and then again with Jarvis Landry later on in the game, where they kind of just like stopped running to catch the ball.
Yeah, it's different than an isolated incident. I'm not saying Jarvis Landry doesn't have weaknesses, but I don't think a route running is it. You could maybe go to effort. I mean, that might be that. I mean, that's giving up.
Yeah, that's
not going up for as many jump balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move tight end position. We doing anything here? Jordan Leggett gets back from injury. We already said we'd resend ASJ. Maybe you add another guy in the late rounds of the draft.
Maybe I don't know what Eric Tomlinson and who was the other guy? Well, week 17, he had like 4 catches. Nate something.
Sterling.
Neil Sterling. Yeah. Re-sign all of those guys. They were pretty good.
All right. Offensive line, not too much to do here, but definitely we got to do something center. I think I'm on board of signing a guy like Jensen. That would be my first choice, or going, you know, second or third round center like Billy Price.
He'll be also go top 20. So
no, Price I think will go early second round. I think the Jets would get him with the first second for sure if they wanted him.
No, I anticipate like the team like the Seahawks looking at him really hard because, you know, they need offensive line help, and he's very, very good. You can get a guy like Frank Ragnow early second, but he has some injury issues that are concerning.
All right. Well, we'll just go with that for now. Michael, how are you addressing the offensive line in free agency?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think first priority should be trying to get a free agent in like Jensen to fill up center. And like we said, I don't think the other positions are really going to be addressed that much. Are they strong in offensive line? No. But I think you look at the contracts and the situations individually, I don't think that the team is going to really look too hard into changing that during the season or during the offseason in free agency. But I think also, like Kyle mentioned, if they can get a guy like Billy Price, if he does slip to round 2, I think that's, if they didn't do it already in free agency, that's definitely something I would jump on.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think I gave my take on, the center position, Ryan Jensen, Billy Price if he falls. I think Beecham and Shell need competition in training camp. Get rid of Ben Ajalana or at least make him, reduce his contract, restructure it. The guards, they didn't have great years last year. Obviously, Brian Winters playing with the injury. James Carpenter had some mental mistakes, probably dealing with injuries as well. Victim of the center position, getting double-teamed a lot, really not even focusing on Wesley Johnson, schematically, when teams looked at us. I'm still not looking past Quentin Nelson, though, as an option because he can play both right and left guard. If you want to clear some cap, you can get rid of one of those guys. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying look at it, do due diligence. It's kind of their job. So center really is the biggest thing I would address there. And sign Ryan Jensen.
All right, moving forward to the defensive side of the ball, we'll try to speed things up here. The defensive line, for the first time in a while, the Jets actually have a few holes here. First, defensive tackle, Steve McClendon, going to be 33, I believe. I may be wrong on that, 32, 33, around there. At defensive end, we are pretty much in agreement that we're going to cut Muhammad Wilkerson, so we're going to have a hole at defensive end. So, yeah, two of the three.
One already.
There was one, but at least now there's nobody there. So what are you guys doing? I think we said we were going to bring back Coney Ely, but are you looking towards bringing back Shelley Richardson? Are you looking towards DeMarcus Lawrence? Are you going to look towards the draft? And then at defensive tackle, is there anybody you guys have in mind there, or are you content with sticking with the Steve McClendon, Deion Simon type of duo? Michael, I'll start with you again.
I think on the inside, I'm kind of okay with where we're at, and McClendon is getting up there, but I think he was really underrated this year. I thought he had one of the best seasons on defense, so I'm okay with him and Leo inside, and also some of the backups they have, I thought, were decent when they came in, like you mentioned, Simon and also Mike Pennell, so I'm okay there, but on the edge, I think that's definitely something that should be one of their top needs, and if you look at the free agency market at that position, it's not that strong. You got some guys who are one-year wonders who are up there in age, so I don't think they're going to find an answer there in free agency. So that's why I think hopefully they could get. You don't think Lawrence fits the bill there? No, I think with Lawrence he could be tagged by Dallas. If he does become available, then I think they should definitely go all out for him. He is absolutely what they need and what they were trying to get out of Muhammad Wilkerson, what they used to get. So if he does become available, then absolutely, I think they should go after him. But I'm just not sure if he will. So that's why I think hopefully they can get quarterback fixed and get a guy like Chubb at the top of the first round.
Agreed. Kyle, what are your thoughts on the defensive line?
I think we're good interior-wise. Outside, we have big holes, arguably the biggest need on this team. Bradley Chubb is our only realistic option, and I don't think he.
We're talking more that. Wouldn't he play off an outside linebacker though, Kyle?
No, I think. In
a 3-4, don't you think he's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker?
I think we would have to put him at defensive end, just from a lack of depth and talent.
I think there's more of a lack of depth and talent outside linebacker.
I think they're more comfortable with Jordan Jenkins. And
you have a who's your second guy?
Josh Martin, Dylan Donahue. Kind of depends.
Josh Martin and Dylan Donahue. I'd rather stick with the guys we have at defensive end, like Coney Ely.
who may not.
My argument is I think there's a bigger need at our situation he is. Yeah, I think there's a bigger need at outside linebacker. So I think if you're talking Chubb, I think let's just try to think of him as more of an outside linebacker, I guess. I think he's a 4-3 defensive end and a 3-4 outside linebacker. Though I think he could do pretty much anything as long as he's getting after the quarterback. In the Jets system and Todd Bowles' system, I see him way more as an outside linebacker. So, Kyle, as far as free agency goes, are there any defensive ends that you'd look at?
I'd look at most of them. I just don't think there's any realistic chance they get to us. DeMarcus Lawrence most likely going to get tagged, and Ezekiel Ansah, from everything I've heard, wants to be a 49er, and the 49ers certainly have the cap and need for him.
Yeah, I forgot about Ansah. Ansah would be another great guy that I would consider if we could lure him over to New York. Maybe we'll have a last-second change of heart. Moving to the linebackers, only 2 more position groups to go here. We'll start outside linebackers. Jordan Jenkins locks down one spot, pretty perfect. Just a run stopper, does the dirty work. Had a pretty solid year. Opposite him, though, where are we going? I've talked a lot about Bradley Chubb. Anybody else? We'll start with free agent Michael. Where you think we can go with outside linebacker position?
I think at outside linebacker, I think on Chubb, I think he's definitely more of an outside linebacker. I think that if he brought his weight down a little bit and could add some more speed, then that's where he'd fulfill his potential best.
Wait. What? You know what happened last time Todd Bowles tried to mess with somebody's weight and speed? We don't do that.
You're right. But I think maybe it's a retrospect talking about Copels now that we know he busted, but I definitely think I like Chubb a lot better. I think he has the fundamentals to make that kind of change, but I do think that outside linebacker would be more of a fit for him.
Yeah, I do too. Michael, is there anybody else so Chubb is your number one?
Yeah, I definitely think that. Obviously, if quarterbacks figured out, Chubb would be the top target there. And as for free agents, I don't think, again, kind of like, and there are a few big names at edge that might become available, but probably won't. I think also at outside linebacker, it's not looking too strong there either. So I think they're going to have to kind of rely on, hopefully, Dylan Donahue to take a step up. And that's kind of a big leap, kind of big thing to hope for. But you draft a guy, hopefully, you hope that they develop into what you want, and hopefully Donahue can do that. And I do kind of like Josh Martin. I thought he played good. He doesn't get a lot of attention, but I think he's a solid player. So I think it's mostly just pure pass rushing they're kind of looking for, and Chubb does fit that if hopefully they can get him in.
All right, Kyle, your thoughts on outside linebacker?
I mean, not a lot of great free agency options off the top of my head. Like you said, Jordan Jenkins, I think he's a good starter. I think he's really paid off so far as a pick. Opposite of him, I think Josh Martin did a solid job last year. He had some cringy moments in coverage and wasn't a phenomenal pass rusher, but he was more of a guy to kind of, clean up on sacks and contain. He did his job. So obviously I would like to address it, but I'm not going to go and spend huge capital on it.
I see. Okay, well, we'll move forward. I don't think we're really going to address the safeties, or I hope we aren't. So we'll talk about the cornerbacks. Michael, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Kyle, and then we'll give our mock drafts and overview of our perfect offseason. So, Michael, we'll go to you. Cornerbacks, where are we looking?
I think cornerback has definitely got to be the number one position they look at spending. There's a ton of good names on the cornerback market that they could be looking at. You got Tremaine Johnson, guys like, and Patrick Robinson's kind of up there, but he had a great season if they get him affordably. But down the line, there's a ton of good names who are either in their prime or entering their prime. There's Kyle Fuller, Nickel Roby-Coleman, just down the line. Like I said, a lot of good names that fit their timeline and would be upgrades. So I think for me, ideally, they get at least 2 of these guys in there, because if the Jets are playing the game today, we're talking about Dale Roberts, Justin Burris, and Buster Skrine are your corners, and that's not ideal. That's like 2014 level, so I'm hoping to see them get at least 2 of the guys from the cornerback market.
Kyle?
Yeah, I would make an all-out effort to sign Tremaine Johnson, re-sign Morris Claiborne. I think you would have a solid 1-2 tandem right there. I think Mo can be a number one. We saw it this year. He did okay. He definitely faded towards the end of the year. He would be a top-tier number two. So I think if you can sign both of them, afford to sign both of them, you absolutely do it. If you can't re-sign Mo, because I think we'll definitely get Tremaine Johnson. I think him and Kirk Cousins are realistically locks, at least in my mind, based on everything I've heard from, guys around the league and, cap-wise, who we can afford, where guys want to go. If we can't get Mo back, say he wants to leave or, whatever, we don't offer him, go get Kyle Fuller. The kid had a great year, entering his 5th year into the league, I'm pretty sure. He's still young, and he's still improving after a couple shaky seasons. Rookie and sophomore year, they weren't the best, but he's really stepped up his game and shown us what he's had at Virginia Tech. Or was that his brother? I know there's multiple Fullers. They have a pretty solid family legacy in the NFL. Gotta look up where Kyle Fuller went.
Wait.
Kyle Fuller is a Virginia Tech guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the free agents portion. All right. Well, last thing. We'll do 3 rounds of the draft because we if you want to add anybody you'd like to target later in the rounds, day 3, but we'll just do 3 rounds of the draft, meaning the Jets have 4 picks, their first, their second, Seattle second, and their third. Michael, based on what you've said so far, how's your draft looking? And if you at the end of this want to throw out any late round prospects you'd like to target, feel free to do that as well.
No, so far I've mostly been focusing on the top of the draft. I haven't really gone too much into the later rounds yet. So for the 6th pick, I think if they're going to go quarterback, then, like I said, Rosen, Darnold, Mayfield, Jackson would be my order. But I think and I have seen some mock drafts where Rosen fall to the Jets, and that would be a dream scenario if they still need quarterback. But so, yeah, I definitely go Rosen first, then Darnold, but I don't think that's likely. So if they still need a quarterback, realistically speaking, I'd definitely go Mayfield first, then Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen.
Based on what you said, though, so if we were to say Cousins, where are you going?
Right. If they had Cousins, I think, like I mentioned, hopefully Bradley Chubb is available. I think that would be my top pick. And like we said, looking at the free agency market with edge being such a big need for the Jets, the pass rush, I think Chubb is their best option to fill that hole. And Barkley, I think I like Saquon Barkley a lot, but we've seen it a lot in recent years that running back at the top of the draft just isn't the best way to go in terms of value. And there are a lot of good later round running back prospects in this draft. So I think Chubb would be my number 1 pick, and I'm going to have to agree with Kyle a little bit. I think if the Jets love Quentin Nelson and he's still available there, that's the way they could go.
All right. Do you have anybody else you'd like to add that day? Just anybody you think the Jets could target?
No, I think that's mainly it. I think Chubb is definitely my main target if he does fall that spot, and I think Minkah Fitzpatrick. If they think he can play corner, then definitely go for him if he falls that much, but that's a question mark. But I'm a big Chubb guy. If he falls that far, that's definitely my wish.
All right, Kyle, how's your mock draft looking?
I'm going to use a simulator because I don't like the thought of just sitting here and saying, oh, I'm going to take Chubb and then I'm going to go Billy Price and, Josh Jackson slips to the next, pick that we have or something. So I'm using a simulator right now.
What's the simulator again?
I'm using first pick. I don't really like fan speak. It's really laggy and slow and inaccurate half the time.
I'll do a fan speak right now.
Bradley Chubb was sitting there at number 6. Barkley was gone. All the quarterbacks, an exception to Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson, were gone. So I took Bradley Chubb, seeing as we had this as Kirk Cousins has been signed. Now, with our first, second-round pick, Billy Price is sitting there. I don't think that's accurate. I honestly do not see him getting to the second round whatsoever. I don't think he makes it out of the top 20. I guess I would have to go Ronald Jones. I think he's a good talent, and he's the best available talent here. Ronnie Harrison, very good talent. Definitely a first-round talent, was sitting there. I don't think we need a safety. We definitely don't need a safety, so I'm going to pass on him, and there wasn't any good corners. For a second-round pick, I'm going to do up to the third round. Just looking at the guys. Malik Jefferson sitting there. Hard to pass on him. Auden Tate from Florida State. I'll go Malik Jefferson, so that means I'm addressing 2 linebackers, and that could possibly open the door to get rid of Demario Davis a year or 2 from now. Solid player from Texas. Ben, I don't know how much you know about him, but he had a lot of preseason draft hype. Lived up to it to the most part. Solid player. Good get in second round. I do think he'll be there in the second round just because of depth at the linebacker position this year of Roquan Smith and Harold Landry, and not a lot of teams necessarily need inside linebacker right now. It's not one of their pressing needs. Obviously there's always a need just in general, and then with my final pick that I'm going to go here in the third round. Just looking at this, and like I said, this is all based off stipulation. I don't know 100% know if these guys will be there. Quentin Meeks, corner from Stanford. He's a top 5 corner.
Yeah.
In my book.
I did assume that I got him like the 5th round or 4th round, and I think Quentin Meeks could be a really, really good player.
Yeah, coach's son, really smart kid, good attitude, really loves the sport. Talk about him personally. I've done some research. And he's a solid player. I think he's going to test well at the combine and shoot up the boards. I think he'll be a late second-round pick, mid-second-round pick, something in there, just based off corner depth this year. I think we got a couple really good big names like Denzel Ward and Minka Fitzpatrick, who I think will definitely transition to safety in the NFL. But he's just going to be a victim of depth in the draft. But he's a good player. So overall, Bradley Chubb, Ronald Jones, Malik Jefferson, Quentin Meeks, that's a win for the Jets.
Yeah, so I did, and I'm currently doing it right now. I did, so my first round I went Bradley Chubb. My second round I went Ronald Jones. So first off, a very solid draft going on for the Jets right now, and I'm about to sim to the third round. It's taken a long time to get there. Yeah. But before I talk about that, Michael, just your last thoughts on your offseason and the offseason you expect the Jets to have before we let you go. Just any last words you'd like to add about a Michael Nania-led New York Jets team?
Yeah, so ideally, I think most fans are hopefully Cousins will take their money and come on over, because I think you just look at the domino effect that signing him would have. It would allow them to focus on some of the best talent at the top of the draft, and especially with the quarterback demand with the teams ahead of them, you could see they could get their choice of maybe the best, maybe second best non-quarterback pick in the draft. So they would definitely have a lot more draft freedom. They could focus on other positions in free agency. So I hope Cousins comes. I hope they could fix center and cornerback in free agency, and then hopefully pick up a good running back in the draft and get edge fixed early. So that would be it for me. But number one, I just hope Kirk Cousins is a Jet.
All right, well, me too. Michael, it's been an awesome experience having you on the show, man. We hope you call back in again. So thank you so much. Really quickly, give our listeners your @ on Twitter so they can follow you and follow your work.
Yeah, you can follow me at Michael Nania. That's Michael_NANIA. So go ahead and follow me, and I'm hoping to see Cousins as a Jet. I'm hoping it's a good off season. We're all going to stick through this and see it out. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl. The Jags are just an AFC championship. The Bills are in the playoffs, so anything is possible.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much, man. Hope we hear from you in the future.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'll definitely be on again soon.
All right, sweet. Thank you, man.
Thanks for being on.
All right, that was Michael Nania. Yeah, he did a really good job tonight. So again, go follow him. He did not respond to your joke though, Kyle, at the beginning.
No, not at all.
He wasn't having it. He wasn't having
silence. Yeah.
it. He was not taking it.
No bullshit from Michael. That was
Threw you off.
Yeah, it really did, because like even if it's a bad joke, which I don't think it was,
it's pretty. I mean, it wasn't great, but
No, I'm not saying it was great, but I don't think it was a horrible joke. There should have at least been like a ha, like, or one of those, or like the thing that Scott does, he like awkwardly laughs it off or something.
Yeah.
And then moves on. No, Michael just, and then when I was like, did I press a nerve or something? And then he was just like, yeah, Bradley Chubb, I agree with Kyle, and I was like, okay. Yeah.
All right. So I clicked hard for this simulator, so it's giving me a tough choice. I'm just gonna ignore what Kyle just said. So right now I'm sitting in the third. I've already taken Bradley Chubb. I took Ronald Jones. Now I'm sitting here. I think I'm gonna go cornerback Carlton Davis from Auburn. I think is my pick. I'm trying to see. Cortland Sutton is on the board.
Yeah,
from SMU.
In the second round?
Yeah.
Take him.
I mean, I was thinking about it, but I mean, I'll take him. It's kind of like the best player available thing. Yeah. Well, I had signed a wide receiver in my free agency, but you know what? We'll just ignore it, pretend I didn't. Entering Cortland Sutton with Quincy Enunwa, Robby Anderson, and Jermaine Kearse seems pretty nice.
And
time for the last.
Chad Hansen.
Yeah, that's kind of forgotten member. All right, last round. Yeah, if you ever can stay on the team. All right, last round. I'll go cornerback here. Jair Alexander from Louisville, I think, is going to be my pick.
Jair Alexander, he's pretty decent.
What did I say Jair?
Yeah, he added a little whiteness to that.
All right, I'll go Jair Alexander. So my first 3 rounds went Bradley Chubb, Ronald Jones, Cortland Sutton, and Jair. Yeah, Jair. Wait, shoot, what was it?
This isn't hard.
Jair Alexander.
Sure, we'll go with that.
All right. Anyways,
I don't feel like roasting you over that right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for our little off-season simulation. So Kyle,
I feel like I was gonna say something to you. I know I had something. I had something witty, and then like you brought up Michael Stone facing my joke. What was it? I hate when I forget something,
Yeah, me too. All right, I think that should be it. I guess we'll close with one last topic for tonight. I know we kind of just went through our off seasons, and January heading into the Super Bowl. My last question to you, Kyle, is who are you most excited to watch returning from injury?
I remember it now.
Obviously, obviously Quincy Enunwa was the obvious answer. Excuse me, but is there anybody else, as far as Dylan Donahue, Devin Smith, Lorenzo Malden? Is there anybody that you think is going to be a surprising return from injury that's going to make the roster?
Devin Smith.
You think Devin Smith's going to make the roster?
Devin Smith is a very talented individual who just continues to get bad breaks. Literally, bad breaks.
But let's not act like he was tearing it up before he got hurt. I mean, he was dropping passes left and right, was not getting open.
Like I said, Ben, the NFL is a place of consistency. When you establish consistency, you have success. When you don't have consistency...
So that's why you're trying to fire Todd Bowles every year?
Yes. Consistently getting rid of your coaches lead to success.
All right. Well, there you have it. That'll do it for...
I remember what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
Because Michael brought up, crazier things in the NFL could happen. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl. I think the Jets are in the playoffs next year if we sign Kirk Cousins.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And people are going to be, shocked by that. I had one dude tell me, oh, you're sipping too much of the Kool-Aid. No. I've been saying this for years. If the Jets had a quarterback, we'd be a Pro Bowl team. Robby Anderson...
Pro Bowl team.
Or a playoff team. Robby Anderson, Quincy Enunwa probably be Pro Bowlers. ASJ would be borderline, just depending on the offense. The running backs would benefit from it. The offensive line would benefit from it. And the defense is good enough to hold great teams like the Patriots, in games that we actually tried and were competitive in. They limited Tom Brady. They stopped him from time to time. And those rookie safeties are only going to improve, and the secondary is only going to improve when we sign players. Get even a minuscule of a pass rusher. Put me out there. Literally, give me pads, give me a helmet, sign it to like a 10-day Make-A-Wish kid contract. I will make sure Leonard Williams can't get double-teamed anymore.
All right. I like it. I like it, Kyle. Yeah, and I think they're going to be too, and I think it's because they're going to have to spend big this offseason. I think in my mock-up, I have the Jets signing Kirk Cousins. I have them getting Jensen. I have them signing Kyle Fuller, the corner from Chicago. I have them getting either DeMarcus Lawrence or Ezekiel Anza. So a huge offseason for the Jets.
I already
and
have.
Then I guess Cortland Sutton in the second round if he falls that much.
Yeah.
A pretty huge offseason for the Jets. And not to mention the draft, I have them getting Chubb and Jones and Sutton, and so I think they can really this could be the offseason that makes or breaks the franchise for the next 5 years. If the Jets play their cards right with over $100 million in cap space, 4 premium draft picks, 9 in the total draft, they can really set themselves up for the future. But they need a 2006 level draft here and a very, very good offseason. So I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm hoping for the best. But I think that's where we're going to end it tonight. Kyle, any last words you'd like to say before I do the plugs and we get out of here?
The video I just sent you, I already have the meme lined up. I found out that you could like save Twitter videos to your notes and stuff, so I just have them prepared now, like ready when stuff happens. The one I just sent you, it's like a guy going down a slope, and it's like going so good at first, like it has so much potential, and he just flips in midair. Like that could be the Jets offseason if we don't do this right. Like it's gonna be much funny when you see it on my Twitter. But Ben, I'm sure you're watching.
Wow.
He really ate it.
He's rolling.
He felt that.
I like his celebration at the end, though. He got to the same place he was going for. He celebrates.
Me, when the Jets sign Josh McCown to a 2-year contract, but don't sign
this is like drafting Josh Allen and signing Alex Smith, but then ending up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
this is what the video signifies to me.
I'll create better dialogue. It'll be like Jets before off season, $100 million, Kirk Cousins, exclamation point, blah blah blah, and then like after postseason, and then after off season, then just that.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us. Another episode of the Jet Take.
By the way, that was amazing podcasting on my part, describing that video. Only the best.
Wow. Way to pat yourself on the back. But that'll do it for us. You can follow our show at the Jet Take on Twitter. You can follow Kyle at Kyle Fahey NFL. You can follow me at Ben W. Blessington. We'd like to thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on Turn on the Jets, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. We're all over the place on YouTube, and I guess Spotify now.
They said it would take like 2 weeks for the feed to but I'm gonna hope it's like in there by tonight when Ben uploads.
All right. Well, we shall see. Again, thank you so much for listening. It's been fun. Our listens are going up, even though I was gone, and we've been a little dodgy on the uploading.
What's that then? The listens are going up when you're gone? What? Oh.
No, I mean I should have said we're gone. I mean I think my point was I was complimenting our listeners for putting up with our BS where we haven't uploaded for a week and whatnot. But we'd like to thank you so much. All right, and a reminder, if you do want to call in and talk to us, we had Michael on the show. We didn't really do callers this week, but we occasionally do some caller shows. And but if you do want to call in, just call in 515-739-1285. PIN is 261860. We stopped doing the callers for a bit during the season, and Kyle and I still like episodes where we just do us. But
I'll tell you why. Some of you guys really suck.
Okay. Don't be discouraged by Kyle Fahey. Just call in. It's the off season, so now it's time to really get the callers on board and talk about their plans for the off season. So again, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you guys next week. Let me get these sound bites up. All right, they're open for me. Anyways, we will leave you with the best chant in the National Football League. We'll talk to you guys next Wednesday. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a good week. This one's
awkward silence.
I mean, it's loading. Yeah. It says it's loading.
Oh, Ben, technical issues shouldn't limit you. You should figure it out.
I'm going to.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Oh, boy. This is...
Gordon Hayward's going to recover.
An error occurred on the bridge server. Please try again. What the hell? All right. Kyle, I think we're going to have to
No, do the
JTS.
sentence. You scream it, and then I'll do my comment at the end, per usual.
All right, ready? This is really awkward.
It's gonna go right in the second you start, probably.
I already know it's loading. All right, ready? Jets, Jets. Kyle?
Go Pats.
Oh, fuck off. Rated PG-13 now.